Scene script. Did you know that Cleopatra, the last active ruler of Egypt, was so wealthy that she once dissolved a pearl in vinegar just to win a bet? Talk about being pearl-plexed. Now, we all know of Cleopatra as this powerful and influential queen, but not many of us know about her mind-boggling wealth. It's said that she was so rich, she made today's billionaires look like they're living off pocket change. And she wasn't shy about flaunting it either. Take, for instance, the infamous pearl incident. In a classic display of "hold my beer," or rather "hold my goblet," Cleopatra made a bet with her lover, Mark Antony, that she could host the most expensive meal in history. And how did she do it? Well, she simply took off one of her pearl earrings, estimated to be worth around $10 million in today's money, and dissolved it in vinegar before drinking it down. Yep, you heard it right. She drank a $10 million cocktail just to prove a point. Now, let's put that into perspective. Imagine Jeff Bezos, the wealthiest man in the world, casually tossing a couple of his rocket ships into the ocean just to show he could. Or Elon Musk, another billionaire, launching his entire fleet of Teslas into space. Oh wait, he actually did that. Well, you get the picture. But it's not just about the outrageous displays of wealth. It's about the sheer scale of Cleopatra's riches. If we were to convert her wealth into today's dollars, some estimates suggest it would be in the trillions. That's more than the GDP of some small countries. But of course, it's not like she was just sitting on a pile of gold. Her wealth was in her kingdom, her armies, her fleets, and yes, in her pearls. So, was she really richer than today's billionaires? Well, that's a debate for another day, so next time you're feeling flashy, maybe think about dissolving your jewelry into your drink. Or don't. From Cleopatra to Newton, who discovered gravity when an apple fell on his head. But what if that apple was made of solid gold? Now that's what I call a gravity of a situation. We all know Sir Isaac Newton as the brainiac who discovered gravity. But did you know that he was also the master of the Royal Mint? That's right, Newton wasn't just an apple-obsessed genius, he was also a money man. As the master of the Royal Mint, Newton's job was to make sure the coins of the realm were of good quality. Now, I don't know how many of you have tried to bite a coin to check if it's real, but apparently that was a thing back in the day. Newton, however, preferred to use his brain for such matters. He had a knack for sniffing out counterfeit coins. Rumor has it, he could tell a fake just by the way it dropped, using his understanding of gravity. Talk about applying your work skills in real life. Newton's role at the Mint was a profitable one. In fact, he was so good at it, he decided to stick around for 3 decades. Now that's job satisfaction for you. But while Newton was busy policing coins, he also amassed quite a fortune of his own. Some might say he discovered not just the gravity of an apple, but the gravity of wealth. And while his wealth might not have been as weighty as a golden apple, it certainly wasn't to be sniffed at. So you see, Newton wasn't just a man of science, he was also a man of coin, a man who knew the weight of wealth, quite literally. He may not have bitten into a golden apple, but he certainly knew a thing or two about turning metal into money. Now that's what you call a real gravity of a situation. So the next time an apple falls on your head, just hope it's gold, but maybe also see a doctor. From gravity to royalty, let's talk about Mansa Musa, the king of Mali, who was so rich that he could probably buy the moon and still have change left for Mars. Now, when we say Mansa Musa was rich, we're not talking about owning a yacht and a private island kind of rich. No, we're talking money so abundant it makes Bill Gates look like he's living paycheck to paycheck kind of rich. You see, Mansa Musa was the ruler of the Malian Empire in the 14th century, and his wealth was so immense that it's nearly impossible to put a modern-day number on it. Imagine having enough gold to cause a decade-long economic collapse in a region just by passing through. Yes, you heard that right. When Mansa Musa made his famous pilgrimage to Mecca, he gave away so much gold in Cairo that it devalued the metal and caused economic havoc. Now, that's a level of wealth that even Scrooge McDuck would find impressive. Picture this, you're chilling in your palace and you decide to take a trip. But instead of packing a suitcase, you pack an entire city's worth of gold, and you don't just travel with your family, you bring along a casual 60,000 people, including your own personal heralds dressed in silks who carried gold staffs, organized horses, and handled bags of gold. Talk about traveling in style. And you know how when we drop a penny, we don't bother to pick it up? Well, Mansa Musa was dropping gold nuggets and not even bothering to pick them up. Talk about being filthy rich. So the next time you're feeling a little envious of Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, just remember Mansa Musa. This guy could probably buy Saturn's rings as a necklace and use the Milky Way as his personal playground. So, if you're ever feeling poor, just remember, you could be Mansa Musa. Or, you could also not be. Now, let's gallop over to the wealth of Genghis Khan, who might just be the richest man to ever live. If we had a penny for every time someone said Genghis Khan, we might be as rich as him. Genghis Khan, also known as the Supreme Khan, was not only a supreme warrior, but also a supreme wealth accumulator. And when I say wealth, I mean make Scrooge McDuck look like a pauper kind of wealth. Born in the 12th century, Khan was not just satisfied with his birthright, he wanted more. So he did what any sensible man of his time would do. He set out to conquer the world. And boy, did he do a good job. He amassed wealth like it was going out of style. And folks, we're not just talking about a couple of shiny coins and some pretty jewels. No, we're talking about entire cities, nations, civilizations. He was the original Monopoly champ, only his game board was the actual world map. Now you might be asking, how did Genghis Khan manage to get his hands on so much dough? Well, it was a simple formula. Conquer, collect, repeat. He would ride into town with his horde, conquer the place, and then collect all the goodies. It's like trick or treating, but with a lot more violence and a lot less candy. And let's not forget about the Silk Road. This ancient trade route was a veritable gold mine, and Khan had his fingers in every pie, or rather every silk robe and spice jar. He was the original king of trade, long before Wall Street and the stock exchange. But unlike some of the other wealthy figures we've talked about, Khan didn't just hoard his wealth. He used it to build cities, commission art, and even establish a postal system. Now that's what I call spreading the wealth. So the next time you're planning world domination, maybe take a page out of Genghis Khan's book, or, just play a game of Risk. From world domination to doodling, let's talk about Pablo Picasso. He was so rich, he probably used dollar bills instead of canvas. That's right, the man who gave us the Blue Period and Guernica wasn't just painting with oils and acrylics, he was painting with cold hard cash. Well, not literally, but you get the idea. Now you might be thinking, hold up, Picasso was just an artist. How did he amass a fortune? Well, let me tell you, Picasso was no ordinary artist. This guy could churn out masterpieces like a bakery churns out croissants. And those masterpieces? They were worth a fortune. Picasso created an estimated 50,000 artworks in his lifetime. No, you didn't mishear me. That's 50,000. That's more art than most of us could even look at in a lifetime, let alone create. And each one of these pieces was like a golden ticket to the chocolate factory of wealth. And here's the kicker. Picasso never sold the majority of his work. He held on to them. Like a squirrel hoards nuts for winter, Picasso hoarded his art. He was his own best collector. And as his fame grew, so did the value of his art. Picasso's collection was like a money-printing machine. Sure, he might not have lived in a castle or owned a fleet of gold-plated yachts, but Picasso's wealth was in his art. His paintings, sculptures, ceramics, prints, textiles, and drawings were worth more than most countries' GDP. So, Picasso wasn't just a master artist, he was a master businessman, a master collector, and a master hoarder. He turned doodles into dollars, sketches into savings, and paint into profit. So, the next time you're doodling on a napkin, just remember, it could be worth millions one day. Or, it could also just be a napkin.